Jerome had been silent long enough. With the biggest deal of his life hanging by a thread and his blackmailer grinning across the room, he knew the only way to win was to tell the truth. But in a way, no one saw coming. Jerome glanced at Marcus, then at Daniel and the Royale Vista executives. Jerome. You know what, Marcus? You're right. I do have a past. And since you're so eager for everyone to hear it, let's make it public. The executives shifted in their seats. Marcus's grin faltered. Jerome pulled out his phone, tapped record, and turned it toward himself. Jerome. Before I sign this deal, I want the world to know exactly who I am. Marcus leaned back, smirking, certain this would destroy him. But then Jerome continued. Jerome. 10 years ago, I was homeless. I had nothing but a broom, a bucket, and a promise to myself that I'd never let anyone take my dignity again. I worked nights cleaning offices, saving every dollar. And yes, Marcus was there. Not as a friend, but as a man who tried to take advantage of me when I had nothing. The room went silent. Jerome turned his phone toward Marcus. Jerome. Marcus, you remember that loan you gave me? The one you said had no strings attached? I've got every text, every voicemail, all the proof that you've been extorting me for years. And now, so does everyone watching this live stream. Marcus's face went pale. Within seconds, the live stream chat began to blow up. Comments flooded in. Expose him! Don't let him win! We stand with you, Jerome. Daniel stood up from his chair. Daniel. Mr. Marcus, I think you've overstayed your welcome. Security. 2 guards entered, escorting Marcus out as he shouted empty threats over his shoulder. Daniel turned back to Jerome. Daniel. That took guts. If you can run your company with the same integrity you showed just now, we'll sign immediately. Jerome picked up the pen, but instead of signing right away, he leaned forward. Jerome. I'll sign. On one more condition. I want the cleaning contract for your corporate headquarters, and I want my former boss's company excluded from any future bids. Daniel smiled. Done. A week later, Jerome walked into his old workplace, this time not with a mop, but with a contract in hand. His former boss looked up, shocked. Jerome. Starting today, my company owns the cleaning rights for this entire building. You can keep your office, but not your staff. They work for me now. The boss's jaw dropped as Jerome's new employees walked in, wearing fresh uniforms with his logo embroidered in gold. It seemed like Jerome had finally won. He'd crushed his blackmailer, secured the biggest deal of his career, and turned the tables on the man who fired him. But just when he thought the war was over, the real danger began. That night, Jerome returned home to find his front door ajar. Inside, the lights were off, but on his kitchen table sat a single envelope. He opened it. Inside was a photo of his sister, and a note that read, You took Marcus down. Now, it's my turn. Jerome's hands trembled. Jerome had made powerful enemies, and one of them had just made it personal. Jerome thought his fight with Marcus was over, but then a single photograph shattered that illusion. His sister, bound to a chair, no message, no demands, just a chilling reminder. The real danger had only just begun. Jerome sat in his office, the smell of fresh coffee rising from his desk. He'd finally started to breathe easy again after weeks of chaos, but the envelope in front of him wasn't on his schedule. Inside, the photo. His hands shook. The clock on the wall ticked louder. Every instinct told him someone wanted him afraid. Without telling his sister, Jerome took the envelope to a contact in the police department, a man who owed him a favor. Within hours, the results came back, a partial fingerprint, linked to a name Jerome didn't recognize, a private investigator, one with a reputation for dirtier jobs than the law would allow. Jerome tracked him down to a crumbling office on the east side. The PI smirked when Jerome stepped inside. "I don't know you," the man said. "You will," Jerome replied. After some pressure and a thick envelope of cash, the man finally spoke. "I was hired to deliver a message by someone inside Royale Vista." Jerome's heart dropped. Royale Vista was the same company that had just signed him in a landmark deal. If this was true, the danger wasn't behind him. It was sitting across the same boardroom table. Before Jerome could ask for a name, his phone rang. It was Daniel, his business partner. His voice was low. "Jerome, we need to talk. It's about your sister." The enemy was closer than Jerome had ever imagined, and now the man he trusted most was admitting the unthinkable. Daniel's eyes wouldn't meet Jerome's. "I didn't want to hurt her," Daniel said. "They forced me. They have something on me." Jerome's stomach turned. The man beside him at every step was now part of the threat. Daniel explained. A mysterious figure from Royale Vista had dug into his past, unearthing a scandal from years ago. If he didn't cooperate, they'd ruin him and take Jerome down, too. Jerome stayed silent, watching, listening. Then he started pulling strings of his own. Security footage, financial records, call logs. Piece by piece, the truth took shape. The person behind it wasn't Marcus. It was Jerome's former boss, the same man who fired him, mocked him, and now wanted him destroyed. Jerome confronted him in his office at 11:47 p.m. The old boss leaned back in his chair. "You think I'm your biggest problem?" he said with a smirk. "You're not ready to know who you're really fighting." The next morning, Jerome woke up slumped over the wheel of his car. His phone buzzed with breaking news. The boss's office had burned to the ground, and Jerome was the prime suspect. Framed for a crime he didn't commit, a sister still in danger, and an enemy whose face Jerome had never seen until now. Police were closing in. Reporters hounded his every step, and Royale Vista suspended his deal. Jerome had 72 hours to clear his name, or lose everything. In a desperate move, Jerome returned to his janitorial roots, visiting old contacts who remembered him when he had nothing. One of them let slip a name. The mastermind wasn't a corporate rival. It was a former co-worker from his janitor days, someone who had smiled in his face and secretly funded Marcus's attacks. Envy had turned them into a shadow puppeteer. Jerome set a trap, a live-streamed charity event, inviting the mastermind under false pretenses. Mid-speech, Jerome hit a button. The giant screen behind them lit up, with an audio recording of the mastermind admitting everything. The crowd gasped. Phones went up. The police stepped in. Justice was no longer in the shadows, it was in the spotlight. Marcus was already gone. The mastermind was arrested. Daniel's name was cleared, and Jerome's sister was finally safe. As Jerome left the press conference, a reporter pressed a folder into his hands. Inside a faded photograph of his mother and a note. "We've met before. Call me if you want the truth about your family." If you would like to know how this story finally unfold, kindly drop a comment in the comment section. Do not forget to like and subscribe.